Hello, and welcome back to St. Peter's Church in Rome, New York, the home of St. Mary's St. Peter's Parish family. My name is Father O'Brien. I'm back to talk to you about the windows again. If you get on our YouTube or our webpage, you'll see that it's been since October 14th that I had mentioned this beautiful window, which we were in the process of repairing at that time. We were about 90% done with the window last October. Now the window is complete. And the last time I spoke to you about the windows, I had mentioned that we would have the windows evaluated and appraised. That also has been done. Today, I'd like to share with you the talents of Mr. Stanton and Mr. Connor, who have put this video together to show you exactly what work has been done on the Last Supper window. After you've watched this brief video, I'll be back to discuss the future.
The piece I'm about to show you was removed from the middle section. The damage in this area was too extensive. We needed to remove that section and reconstruct this area right straight down through the very middle. As you can see, the rot went completely through the frame. Now, I had said there are 5 layers. On this upper piece, this is your exterior, these pieces here, 1, 2, and then below that was the third piece, which was in this condition, in a large area. And it seemed to be mostly in the middle of the window. Are there areas up there that are not being removed that have this going on? And the answer to that is yes. Now, the Bodhi Studios sent me some products. It's a chemical epoxy that you brush onto this area that will harden that wood so that when you apply the wood filler, it will harden just as this wood is. The filler we use is also a 2-part filler, and then you put this wood filler in there, and then by tomorrow that'll be hard enough to sand. If you look at this design, you have to have a router bit that's going to give you that. How are we going to get a router bit to fit that? Luckily, Joe Stanton found a company that could make us that router bit. So you use the router to make that design here. When this window was done, it's like a giant puzzle. So in order to make those curves, what they had done is they had taken large pieces of lumber and they made this curve, and they're in sections. As you can see, I made wood wide enough in order to fit the pattern that I'm trying to get. Once I make these shapes, I will take dowels, refasten it. There again, amazing piece of art, piece of work. But the whole concept here is to restore this to the original shapes, which is a tremendous amount of work, even in today's day. Okay, Jerry is in the process of replicating the middle section of the window. So he's routed the edges and now he's putting in the decorative part in the middle. Here are the rounded sections that are in that dark area I just showed you on the other piece of the molding. You also have to route the edges here in order to get that curve. The stained glass is like a big puzzle with leaded pieces. This is a part of that puzzle, and what Bodhi Studios has done is they put this screen on in order to vent the window, to prevent the moisture buildup. The piece I just showed you was removed from this area here. That's so that the bottom of the air will come into the bottom of the window, and they removed pieces on the top. This piece here, as you can see, is the screening, and what they do is there's a lead on the bottom of the screen that they affix to the other part of the window. As you can see here, This is one of the offsets that they put in. There's the screen, and then they resoldered it to the window. These are all puzzle pieces that are in the glass. What they did this for is to vent the inside once the protective glass goes on, to prevent a moisture buildup in this area. That was part of the problem when this window was encapsulated with glass, and it caused the frame to rot. Okay, I just want to take for a minute to explain what the gentlemen from Bodie Studios are doing. There's approximately 80 pieces of protective glass that has to go over the stained glass that you see below. Up above you can see where they've already placed some of the pieces. What you're looking at here are the different shapes. They had to be water jet cut, and this is 1/4 inch laminate plate glass. There's a whole crate over there that's got approximately 80 pieces of glass. So what they did is they had this cut, and then they took them to the studio, had the lead applied, and as you can see, they determined where possible stress fractures could happen, and they leaded that, so that gives it a little flex if you get a big wind. Just to give you an idea of the difference in shape. You can see that there's some overlap here, and this is the air gap that you would have had we used the exact size that came out. So we were trying to prevent that. So when they traced it, they made it more exact. Okay, we're up in the lift with Walter and Angel. What they're doing is they're putting in the laminate plate glass. As I said earlier in the video, it's been leaded throughout the outside and in some spots in the middle. And that is to prevent stress fractures in certain areas. They've screwed the laminate into different areas of the frame. After this is done, there will be a glazing that will go around the whole outside. And then a Dow representative will do what they call a pull test on this glass to give it a warranty. What Walter's doing is he's trimming the lead on the outside of that glass to give it a more snug fit in the opening. Walter and Angel from Bodie Studios is going to put on a leaded pan to protect the windowsill. Earlier on in the project, they used a hard Bondo to reinforce this windowsill. Angel has the pan in his hand there that they had bent at their shop. And they get silicone to the windowsill. What happens is when they place that laminate plate glass, it sits on top of that. Okay, we have Angel and Walter down there. What they just did is cleaned the glass, and they're going to place that bottom piece on that panning that they had just put down. Alright, so that's a channel that he just filled with the gravel. So move that over to the other pan. That way, if any moisture gets trapped, it bleeds off of that. That's why they're the experts. Voila! And then they had tabs for where they put the lead around the plate glass so it allows them to fasten it to the frame. What Walter's doing is masking the window for the glazing to be applied.
I hope you enjoyed that short video on the details of the work that was done on our Last Supper window. That type of work in such detail will not have to be done on the rest of the windows, thankfully. But we are moving forward to repair the rest of the windows It'll be a 3-year process, and it'll be done in phases. And you and I are going to have to be part of underwriting and supporting the cost of that process. Until then, please know that you're in my prayers, and please pray for me as together we continue to keep St. Peter's Church the beautiful church that it's been since 1897. Thank you and God bless.